everyone. This is Bakhtaur Mehdi, and welcome to the Heart Walk podcast. This is a space to inspire you to live life with your whole heart, a community that will walk with you as you find your way back home. Welcome to our guest today, Alejandra Zelaya, Latina first-generation entrepreneur and passionate about all things self-growth and transformation. I've been watching her on this journey of self-discovery over the past year, and she is an inspiration. Alejandra, welcome to the Heart Walk.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you for being here. You know, as I've been seeing you on this beautiful journey you've been on, I have noticed that you are just unapologetically yourself, and it shows in every step you're taking. What did it take to get here?
I love that question because it wasn't always like this. I wasn't always like this. It wasn't until my late 20s that I realized I had spent the majority of my life just pleasing others and catering for others at the expense of myself. I had become someone who put someone else's beliefs and values and desires over my own. And I guess just to go back a little bit further down the line, I'm a Christian. I was born and raised in a church. And when I was young, I actually attended this really conservative church that made me grow up believing that I had to think and act and be a certain way in order for me to have God's love. And I think that belief system really just played a big part of the choices I decided to do for myself, because I was always living in this box of you have to dress a certain way, you have to think a certain way, you have to act a certain way. God forbid you have a drink, or God forbid your pants are a little too tight, and I was just always so focused on other people's opinions. And it wasn't until my late 20s that I realized that after going through so much and becoming an adult and committing certain errors and I guess just certain sins in my life, I realized that there is nothing that we can do to earn God's love. God just loves because God is love. That I don't have to be a certain someone. I don't have to be or act or dress a certain way for him to love me. He just loves me. So that's when I realized that's when I started becoming someone who was me, who was not sorry for being a certain way anymore, who was unapologetically Alejandra, I guess we could say.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, it's like you have to realize that love is unconditional,
Right. Exactly.
and then be able to give that to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. It took me a long time. But the important thing is that, I got there, and I will no longer be putting that belief into my kids and so
Yeah.
on moving
Yeah.
forward. Yeah. Yeah.
So how did that being in that mindset and kind of like feeling like you're in that box and things have to go a certain way for you to feel worthy, of this of love from God and such, like how did that impact how you went about in your relationships?
Yeah, actually that's a great question. So, you know, for the longest time I believed that I had to put people before me, and I had to serve people, and I had to sacrifice. Like I believe that love is sacrificial, and I believe that serving others is a way of loving others, but never at the expense of our well-being.
Mhm.
And I grew up just seeing in the church in general, just a lot of women in general just not really giving themselves the opportunity or the space to care for themselves or stand up for themselves or really go after anything for themselves. It was always about family and the kids and the husband, no matter how, if they were well or not.
Yeah.
So just growing up in a church, seeing that, I believe that I was supposed to love like that at the expense of my well-being.
What was kind of that awakening moment where it was like, that wake up call to be like, I do not want to do it this way?
I think that I don't think that it was a specific moment. I think that it was just a period of events over a period of time. So to be, completely honest with you and anybody listening to this, I was in a very long-term relationship, 8 years just to be exact. And that was basically all of my 20s. And there were a lot of great moments in that relationship, especially in the beginning. But at some point, it had a turning point, and it became a very, very toxic relationship. Now I realize that it was a mentally and an emotionally abusive relationship. And it took me a long time for me to be able to walk away from that. But like, there was a point where I was so sick of just being sick
Mm.
that I had just had it. And I realized, this isn't El Salvador in the 1930s where
Ah,
where
I
I
love
have
that.
to, where I have to stay home and depend on somebody, and this person was not financially supporting me. But again, I had seen in the church where women just pour themselves, their mind and their heart to their spouse. We weren't married, but to me, he was going to be my husband. So I felt like I had to remain.
Mhm.
And I realized that this is America. It's 2020, 2000, it was 2021 when I decided to walk away, and I realized I don't have to live how my ancestors or like
Mhm.
the women in my family have lived in the past. Like, I can break that habit. I can walk away. I can rebuild myself. I can create my own business. I can become somebody here. I don't have to remain in that cultural norm,
Mhm.
sheltered, doing certain things a certain way just to please everybody else.
Yeah. And you said a word that really stuck out, remain. It was like you felt you just had to stay. Like there was nothing holding you, nothing even legally binding, right? Like
Right.
no, like not
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
even that should be a reason to hold you still in
Right.
in a situation like this. So that is powerful. Like 8 years
Yeah. It was all my 20s. Yeah.
before you got into this relationship. What did you like? How did you view love and
Mhm.
marriage or long-term relationships?
Yeah. Yeah. So, since I was born and raised in the church, I was very, very mentally just drilled into the fact that you marry somebody and you devote yourself to this person, and you sacrifice for love, and you love unconditionally, and you do anything that you can for this person. And in I guess in my early 20s, I viewed this one person as my future husband. So because I viewed him as my future husband, I behaved like he was my husband,
Mm.
and I drilled that mindset into my mind, and that's how I acted. I you do anything for this person. And yeah, and I guess the difference now, in my early 20s, I realized that yes, love is sacrificial, and I still believe that love is sacrificial. But love is a sacrifice, but it should never be a sacrifice where you have to put your health on the line.
Yeah.
It should never come at the expense of your well-being, like your mind or your emotions, or even physically.
Mhm.
You should never be in a relationship where you feel like you're dying.
Wow. Is that how it felt
Yeah, I
during?
mean, yes, there was a so, as stated, I was with this person for 8 years, and we had a lot of really good memories. And because I was in the church. I hadn't dated around. So this person was my one boyfriend that was like, oh my gosh, God, this is the one kind of thing, you
Oh.
know? And as much as I wanted that to work out, when everything started to take a turn, it was so mentally detrimental. And I felt like I was dying. I mean, as much as I don't like to, because I'm still in the process of healing, as much as
Yeah.
I don't like to say that word, the gaslighting and the manipulation and making me feel crazy and like I was the problem, that I needed help, that I was always the problem.
Mhm.
It turns you into you feel like you have no way out. You feel like you're the problem and you have no fix. Nobody can help you. Nobody can heal you. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much you pray, doesn't matter how much therapy, doesn't matter how many medications, doesn't matter who you talk to, you're the problem. So it's like you feel like you can't live because you're the problem. That's how
Wow.
it felt.
So when was that shift though?
I had a feeling this person wasn't being truthful to me.
Mhm.
And though I asked a lot of times, because they're so good at manipulating, they make you feel like you're crazy for asking. And they condition your brain to question your sanity,
Mhm.
you don't have the strength to walk away. So I would pray, and I would say, God, I need proof. I need proof. I need proof. And a lot of people were telling me, and random people, and or people wouldn't understand why I couldn't just break it off.
Yeah.
And after a very long time of praying, I got proof, and that's when I realized I was never I was never crazy.
Oh.
I was never I was never crazy, and I was never sick. When I saw that and I realized what had been happening, I it was very heartbreaking and it broke me. But that's when I realized this isn't healthy.
Mm.
This is not okay. And my mom would cry with me, and she would cry with me and tell me, I am so tired of seeing you upset. I'm tired of seeing you cry. I'm tired of you wasting your weekends waiting for someone to call you or waiting for someone to take you out. I'm tired of you wasting your 20s away for someone that's not even texting you back. When I realized that I had proof, I decided to walk away. It wasn't until I went back to therapy and I told her everything that I had found out. It wasn't until she helped me close the door completely. So I think that it was a process. It's not just a switch. It's definitely a process to
Yeah.
walk away from something like that. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it seems like, your body, your soul, it was giving you all these signs
Oh yeah.
throughout, like, this is not it. This is not it for you.
Yeah.
And
No,
that's
no.
so beautiful that your mother was there for you as well. And, saw beyond that off the cultural norms as we
Yeah.
often experience. Has that influenced your healing process in any way, like cultural pressures or
Mhm.
just certain views?
Yeah, yeah, I think so for sure. I grew up like, very sheltered and conservative, and I was born and raised in El Salvador. So I was raised till I was 9. And culturally, back in the days, like women don't have a voice, right? Women can't build a career for themselves. Like, just we don't even have to go very far back. Like, my mom's dad didn't want her to go to school. He didn't want her to buy a house. He didn't want her to be independent because it was just culture for women to stay home and withstand whatever they needed to withstand. So I didn't grow up with my parents telling me, you have a voice. I didn't grow up with my parents telling me you have the strength to be independent, or you don't have to take people's crap, for a lack of better words,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because they were so busy trying to build a life for us here when we moved to the States. So a lot of my growing up was in the church. I was always at church. My parents were always working, so I went with what I would see at church, and that was just women being submissive. That definitely played a role in me withstanding
Mhm.
some things. But then again, as I have gotten out of that relationship, I can think more clear. And now I realize the things I want for myself. And my hope is that when and if I have a daughter, that she will never think that staying quiet is a choice.
I mean, even mental health, right? Like going to therapy, I'm
Oh my
sure
God,
that must have just been something completely out of
for
the
sure.
norm in the
Yeah.
culture. And it's like, I feel like oftentimes, you want to get to that point. You see yourself on this side, you want to get to the other side. It's a lot of pain in between and heartbreak and like hard work, really.
Yeah.
But how was how did you convince yourself to go to therapy, even though that may have been a very difficult step to take?
I think the reason why I decided to go to therapy, so I started therapy before this relationship was even over. But the only reason why I was in therapy is because I was constantly told that I needed help and I needed healing and I needed all these things. So I I literally did anything under the sun possible to better myself, to save my relationship. So
Mhm.
it was always for the purpose of saving my relationship, because I wanted to marry this man so badly. I wanted him to choose me and love me and make me his wife. So I was like, if I can just fix myself, he will do that. So
Wow.
that's why I went to therapy.
Wow. And trying
Yeah,
to save this relationship, you saved yourself.
exactly.
Oh
Yeah,
my
interesting how that
God.
played out, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I am so proud of you. And I know you're so proud of you.
Yeah.
And it is like that just irks me. The fact that you felt like something was wrong with you, that he was,
Yeah.
constantly making you feel like something's wrong with you. You're the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think that that's spoken about enough. I think that, gaslighting is detrimental to the mind. It's just, it will have you question your sanity. It will have you question yourself. You are no longer sure about yourself. You lose your self-confidence, you lose your self-worth, your self-belief. Your belief system is to the floor because this person, you no longer have confidence about yourself,
Mhm.
in your abilities, in what you can do. So it not only affects you mentally or emotionally, it affects your career. It affects on who you're going to be in 5 years, because how are you going to start a business, or how are you going to, do the next big thing if you have no self-confidence, because this person's always having you question yourself,
Yeah, they're like
you know?
beating down your identity and your ability to just even think for yourself.
Exactly.
I'm sure you felt immense amount of relief after realizing like this was the right decision you made.
Yeah, it's been a year since I found out about a lot of things, and it made me realize that I was not in the wrong thinking, that my gut feeling was true. It's been a long road. The last year has been difficult, but it's been a beautiful difficult, if that makes sense. I remember one time, I think at the beginning of spring, I was walking my dog and there was like a spring breeze, and I felt it on my face, and I realized that I was alive again, because I
Oh,
could not remember the last time I was mentally well enough to notice how beautiful the weather is, because I was so consumed mentally for a long time. And when I felt that breeze on my face, I shed a tear, because I realized this is it. This I'm getting myself back again. That's when I
oh,
realized that. Yeah.
oh gosh, that is so powerful. It's so beautiful. If
Yeah.
oh, It's sad to realize that a wrong relationship or the wrong person can really take you to that place where, you're just like, you're not even experiencing life in your body anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
What has been your source of strength and determination during this time to really make that life that you're visualizing a reality?
My strength. It has to definitely be God, because when you love someone so much, the last thing you want to do is let them go. And I think there was a point in my life where I was really praying, and this verse God gave me, and it's Romans 8:28. And it says, "For in all things God works for the good of those who love him according to his purpose." And I think, through the healing process, when you just sit there and feel your feelings, and sometimes you feel like the heartache is so strong, you feel like you're suffocating. In those moments, that's the verse I would go back to. I don't know how God's going to make this work for my good, but God's going to make this work for my good. God's going to turn it around for me. I know God will make this work for my good. And I have yet to still see unfold, but that belief still remains. And that verse has really been an anchor for my soul through this past year.
If someone is listening right now and she wants out of a similar relationship and she wants out but just doesn't know how to get to that other side, how to take that first step into this, what piece of advice would you have for her?
I think that everyone is definitely different, but my biggest, I guess, advice would be to not be hard on themselves, because a lot of times my friends and I guess my family would not understand why I wasn't leaving. And there was a lot of pressure on, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it would make me feel bad that I didn't have the strength to walk away when they needed me to walk away. And I think that one of the best things you can do is be okay with not having the strength yet. It doesn't make you weak. It does not make you less of a strong woman. It just makes you right now, you're just vulnerable. And there's gonna come a point that you're gonna have the strength. That time will come. And I think that the way that they can help themselves get there is by loving themselves. And what I mean by loving themselves is focusing on themselves. They don't have to leave the relationship right now if they're not ready to leave the relationship, but start pouring more on yourself. Like, do things you like, find a hobby that you like, go to the gym if you like going to the gym, wear the cute outfits if you like wearing the cute outfits, get your nails done, get your hair done, go shopping or go traveling with your friends. Just pour into your cup, because soon enough, once you have enough within your cup, once that cup starts to overflow, you're going to be like, shoot, I can't do this no more. Like, I'm going places. And
Yeah.
that's how you get there, by loving yourself. And it doesn't have to be grandiose acts of self-love. It just has to be every day. If you like a certain cup of coffee, drink the coffee. If you like going to the gym, prioritize that. Stop hanging out with people that you don't want to hang out with, and hang out more of the people that make you feel safe. So that's how you work yourself to get there, by pouring into your own cup.
Yeah. You realize are that you are that light, you are that love, and you can give yourself everything that you've kind of been waiting on from someone
Exactly.
else.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. For a while, like for years, I wouldn't plan anything on the weekends with my friends, because I was always hoping this guy would take me out on dates,
Mm.
and I didn't see my friends for a long time. And unfortunately, I lost friendships because I wasn't putting effort into the friendships, because I was so focused on this relationship. And now I realize, well, if you want to go on dates, just go on dates. I bought so many cute outfits that I never wore because I was like, oh, I'm going to wear this when he takes me here. And that never came.
Yeah.
So it had a tag on for the longest time, but it's like, put on the dress, call a friend, and go. It's not going to be the same feeling, but that's okay. Give yourself the opportunity to experience new things on your own and with your friends. That was big for me.
Mm. What are ways you've kind of done these things for yourself and shown yourself the self-love over the past year?
Yeah, slowly but surely I got here, and that was doing the things I was always waiting to do with him. And that included visiting new restaurants, that including going out for a drink with friends, that included getting my body right, that included getting my hair done, my eyebrows, my nails, that included everything that I wanted to do with him. I have done either on my own or with a friend. I gave myself that because I felt like I had been in a prison for a while, and now that I was free, I needed to make up for the time that I lost. So,
Wow. No more self-neglecting.
amen. That's the right word. That's exactly the right word.
Uh, if you were to talk to your younger self right now or see her and just give her a huge hug, what would you say to her?
I would tell my younger self to listen to my gut feeling, to trust my intuition, and that if you ever, I guess I'm speaking to my younger self, if I ever experience a relationship where this person is having me question my intuition and my gut, then that's a red flag.
Mm. Yeah. I feel like as women, kind of over time, we get conditioned in a way to turn off that intuition, to turn
Yeah.
off that gut feeling, just to be less of a woman
Yes. Yeah.
and finding our power again and finding our worth, our identity again. It's like trusting our inner guidance.
Yeah. It's true. I think that a healthy love is a love that pours into that gut feeling, that makes you feel like your self-confidence is even higher or stronger around them.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And for me, it's kind of always been like um, this aspect of like, okay, if this person, whether it's a friendship or relationship, like, are they adding to my peace? Are they disrupting my peace? If it's a disruption to my peace, it is a no.
Yeah, I agree.
So, how do you kind of navigate now in terms of choosing yourself and placing yourself as the priority, even if, certain friends or family don't really get it?
That's a really good question, especially, with the background I come with, where women put everybody else before themselves. Um, this is actually something that I spoke with my therapist about because it
Mhm.
became a problem. And she told me that not everyone is going to understand my evolution, or they're not going to understand the new version of me, and that's okay. And I think that just coming to an acceptance is really important. And the people that no longer like this new version of you, then they were never really your people.
Mm.
And as you become this new version of you, you're going to attract the right kind of people, the people that also prioritize themselves, the people that take care of themselves, the people that understand that in order for you to love people well, they must first learn to love themselves. And this was also hard for me to understand because love God, love people, right? And how do you love God, love people, but how do you fit you into the picture?
Mhm.
But it's like, love God, love people, yes, but again, never at the expense of your well-being. You have to love you.
Yeah. No, it's been amazing how you have really I followed you along on your fitness journey, and that I think that's amazing. And you are prioritizing your mental health, your physical health, um, and it all just kind of goes into other aspects of your life then.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. And, the only reason why my business has remained and grown despite the pandemic is because I learned how to take care of me the past year is where I really saw growth, just in the business and also within myself. And in my led, he's a great business person, and he spoke about how the identity of a business will never outgrow the identity of the owner. And that really
Mm,
hit home. If I want my business to grow, I have to grow.
yeah.
That was a huge I guess eye opening for me.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. What are kind of, as you look out over, the coming months and the coming year, what are ways you are planning to just continue moving forward on this path?
My main goal is growth within my business, and growth within my mind and my body and my spiritual life. And I would love to one day inspire others, especially women, young women, to go after what they truly want for themselves, to not settle. And for my story to just kind of be an inspiration that it is possible to get out of a relationship, that it is possible to live without the man you think you can't live without, that it is
Mm,
possible to become someone that you admire. Um, because a lot of times we look at someone and we're like, wow, how they're just so amazing, when we ourselves can become that person.
mm.
So my only goal is to keep growing and inspire others to take the chance on and bet on themselves.
I love that. And you already are inspiring all of us.
Yeah.
I want to talk more about like just the joy in
Oh
life
yeah.
that you're feeling right now. Like
Yeah.
what are like aspects of beauty in your life every day that
Yeah.
you're finding?
Oh, that's a great question. And I am so grateful that you asked that. Oh man, there are just so many, like I stated earlier, the breeze on my
Mhm.
face, the leaves changing colors, actually tasting coffee. I think coffee is life. So
Oh,
like now that I get to actually it's there's nothing like a quiet moment where you have peace and you're just drinking your cup of coffee. It's like, how they say that a beautiful life is made of small moments like
mhm.
those. Yeah, it's those moments. And having the energy and the health to get up early and go to the gym and wear the cute gym outfits and have the mental clarity to think about my business and, oh my gosh, and be able to plan my weekends with my friends. And because before I wasn't doing anything, and now if I buy something, I'll wear it like within the next month. It's not just sitting in my closet. I can Nothing's holding me back now. I feel like a white free bird, and I
Oh,
almost feel like my joy is so much I want to cry.
oh.
Because I haven't felt this alive in a long time. I
Yeah.
haven't felt this free in a long time. And you realize how beautiful life truly is.
So one final question I'd love to
Yeah.
ask is, what does walking on the path of your heart mean to you?
Yes, I think that everything can tie down to this one question. That is, listen to your intuition, listen to your gut feeling, and go after that thing that you feel you want for yourself. It's really easy to let other people's expectations dictate where we're headed, but that only takes you to a place of resentment or regret or anger. um, Take the chance, go after what you really want for yourself, whether that's financially, career wise, physically, how you look, how you dress, who your friends are, where you travel, where you live, who you marry. Just walk within your own self desires and create the life that you want for you, not what others want for you.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, that's powerful. So, where can our listeners connect with you if they want to see you grow and thrive on this journey that you're on?
Yeah. I try my best to document my journey on my personal Instagram. It's underscore Alejandra Zelaya with a Z and a Y. That's where I share most of my stuff.
Okay, well, thank you. And thank you so much for being here and sharing your energy and story with everyone today.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for choosing to share this space with us today. Join us next time for more reminders of self compassion and wholehearted living. Always remember that you are love, you are beauty, and you are home.